Welcome back to another episode of Georgia Sports Nation. I got some more Hawks and Braves content on the way for you guys tonight. We're going to be discussing the win over the Houston Rockets on Wednesday. Great win for the Hawks. Just stole one really in Houston, a game that they were not favored to win. And that's the first time the Hawks won 2 consecutive games since November the 4th. Since Jalen Johnson's been out, the Hawks never won 2 consecutive games. So huge step there. Can they make it 3 in a row tonight? We're going to be previewing the game in South Beach tonight against the Miami Heat. Now, the Heat don't have Jimmy Butler tonight, but you know the Miami Heat and their voodoo magic and Eric Spoelstra and all those guys over there. So it's still going to be a tough matchup. The Hawks are not favored to win it. DeAndre Hunter right now is questionable. So let's see if the Hawks still can come through and really gain some momentum with Jalen Johnson on the helm, probably going to be returning at the beginning or middle of next week. So without further ado, let's get into this. I want to start off this Rockets game by saying this game was just played in spurts for the Hawks. There were some really good moments, then really bad moments, then great moments, then okay moments, then terrible moments, but they ended up taking the win. And I'll kind of break it down by those moments. The first 21 minutes of this game were almost perfect from the Hawks. You know, the Rockets are going to go a little bit of a run here and there, but the Hawks got off to double-digit leads early in this one, really. They were able to stop Houston defensively. They didn't put up 30 points in the first quarter, and the Rockets really had no answers for the Hawks defense. Now, for the Hawks offense, sorry. We've said that for a long time now. This Hawks offense is clicking on all cylinders. Back-to-back games with 130 points. Trae Young, 5 games in a row with over 30 points and 10 assists. He's just playing out of his mind right now. Best basketball of his career. Let's see if that can continue, because we know he sometimes has trouble against Miami. But in this win over Houston, for the first 21 minutes, like I said, game was perfect from the Hawks. They got up to a near 20-point lead, 19-point lead in the first half. Then, in the last 3 minutes, the offense kind of sputtered, turnovers, Rockets got easy points in transition, and that's how they got back into the game at halftime with the lead only at 12 points. Now, we go to the third quarter, 12 minutes of terrible basketball from Atlanta. The defense just was not there. They opened the half 0 of 8 from 3 after starting the first quarter, shooting in the first half 13 of 26 from 3, and they just couldn't have any rhythm on either side of the floor. The Rockets ended up taking the lead at one point in this third quarter. As we go to the fourth now, with the Hawks still just clinging to a 2-point lead, this is where this game just went back and forth. Atlanta never established a rhythm in the second half until about the 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter. They were able to stretch the lead when Onyeka Okongwu came into the game and dominated. This was Onyeka's coming out game as I'm here now. Okongwu had 12 points in the fourth quarter, including 3 dunks in a row off 3 perfect dimes from Trae Young. And I know there's been a lot of talk on Okongwu recently about how he's not stepping up. Capella's missed a couple games here and there lately, and he's not stepping up. I think Okongwu's playing really well right now. He is finally turning into the guy that a lot of Hawks fans that are high on him thought that he would be since the beginning of the season. This has been going on for a week and a half now. He's finally setting into the system. The blocks are coming back for both centers, Capella and Okongwu. So it's good. It's good science on defense for those 2 guys. But Okongwu and Trae really just dominated this game throughout the middle portion of that fourth quarter, and they got a double-digit lead back. But as we head into the 4-minute mark in the fourth, the Hawks offense just couldn't get anything going. DeJounte Murray, Trae Young, it was your turn, my turn type of offense. And I think that Quinn Snyder needs to explore closing with Bogey a little bit more. The way Bogey is playing right now is the best in his career. And I know that DeJounte Murray is the guy that the Hawks spent 3 unprotected picks on and everything like that. But I think that the Hawks offense just would flow better in crunch time when it slows down if Bogey was in instead of DeJounte. Now you can put DeAndre Hunter in there as well. Onyeka Okongwu, Clint Capella, Onyeka Okongwu, Jalen Johnson when he's back, Saddiq Bey and Capella. I think those guys are interchangeable as far as the closing lineup. But this has been a couple games now over the recent weeks where the Hawks offense is so good for the majority of the game, and then the last 4 minutes, just they can't score. They didn't score for almost 3.5 minutes in this one, and the Rockets got it down to a 4-point lead with a minute remaining as Dillon Brooks hit a three. They come down the next possession. Trae Young hits a layup. Then Jabari Smith gets a dunk on the other end. It's still a 4-point game. The Hawks come down and get a huge three from Saddiq Bey, who's not shooting the ball well at the moment. For about a week now, Saddiq is struggling big time with his 3-point shot. But he's hit 2 clutch shots in this game. I thought in the first half he had a 4-point play where he shot a three from the corner, made it, and it was kind of a bucket to stop the bleeding when the Houston Rockets were making a little bit of a run there. And in this instance, huge three to put the Hawks up 7 with less than a minute remaining to basically ice the game and keep Houston out of the running. This was a good win for the Hawks. I don't know how you can't shape it as it wasn't. And Houston's a solid team, and when you're down as many guys and a lot of people that you can't know this guy's definitely going to be on the roster. When you're down those guys, it's better to keep winning because you know that some of the guys are impacting winning and some guys aren't. I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought there. But yeah, as we got Blackberry joining us here. Blackberry, what did you think of this Houston game and then your keys to it?
Yo, what's happening, Mikey, man? Good to be here with you, man.
Yes, sir.
I thought it was the right okay, so can I be a little coy here? Can I be a little coy here, Mikey?
What is there to be coy about?
Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu. We saw Snyder put OO at the 4 the game before against Detroit, right?
He didn't start, but they played some minutes together, yeah.
But we saw the next game against Houston, playing really good at the 5.
Yeah.
Let me try to paint this picture for everybody. Onyeka Okongwu as the starting 5.
You there?
With Bruno Fernando as the 4.
What?
Stay with me.
Okay.
Stay with me.
I'll try, but that is.
Stay with me. In the Detroit game, Bruno was killing it.
He was killing it. That was the Cleveland game. Bruno didn't play in the Detroit game.
I mean, the Cleveland game. Sorry. Yeah. Now, the Cleveland wasn't without Jared Allen. They weren't without Jared Allen and what's the other guy?
Evan Mobley.
Mobley, right? And your boy Fernando was a dog down low with those.
He was good. He was good.
Is it possible that we could get a deal done with somebody for Clint and give Bruno an opportunity to alternate the 4 and the 5 with depending on matchups?
I don't like that.
When I said let me be coy, I was talking about it might not be a bad idea to part ways with Clint Capella sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's best to do it. It's best to do it sooner, especially the way he's playing now. Like obviously, the Hawks are going to look at trading him for more about the money. But his on-court production's been pretty good. I think Onyeka's outplayed him over the past few games. But yeah, Capella's definitely on the up and up right now. So it would be good to explore it. But the Hawks would definitely get worse on paper if they traded Capella.
Well, I think it depends on what they get, out of whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real. I haven't really looked in depth to possibilities, deals that could be made for different teams for Clint. I know the Clippers is one that comes up a lot, but that pick and roll game between Trae Young and Onyeka Okongwu and DeJounte Murray and Onyeka Okongwu and Bogdanovich and Onyeka Okongwu. You see the recurring theme is Onyeka.
Yeah, it is. This team, the scheme that they're running on both ends of the floor suits Onyeka Okongwu way better than it does Clint Capella. That is objective. No matter if you're a Capella guy, if you're an Okongwu guy, you got to look at how they're playing. It suits Okongwu. But yeah, Mike has a good point here that, like, yeah, he's being funny. Clinton should get us a 12-pack of beer at least. But yeah, if this team cannot afford to salary dump Clint Capella like they did Kevin Huerter and like they did John Collins, they cannot do that. It will look so bad. And Brian,
we'll get
to your thoughts on the trade rumors later after we speak about this. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get something of equal or better value out of the deal. You're gonna have to. You can't afford the salary dump.
Yeah, and Capella, a lot of people say Onyeka Okongwu's better than Clint Capella. Like he's the future of the franchise and everything like that. I mean, Capella had 15 and 9, 2 steals, 2 assists, a block in this game in 21 minutes. Now, in 21 minutes, that's great production. But before, when he got 30 minutes a game, he was getting 12 rebounds a game, putting up 15, 17 points, automatic double-doubles. He's been pretty good. But I think the defense from him, like the box score numbers are still good. He's going to get rebounds. He's going to be a good pick-and-roll partner, lob threat. But I think Okongwu is solidly outplaying Capella over the past week, I'd say, on the defensive end.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's the effectiveness of the production. It's not just the production, but it's about how effective are you being for the team's success. While Clint's numbers look good, this isn't an indictment on Clint Capella. For anybody that would hear this, it's not an indictment on Clint. It's about the effectiveness of the production. And what you're getting from Onyeka Okongwu is more effective in real game time situations.
Yeah, lately.
So, and this is actually like the Onyeka that a lot of us have been waiting on. It's that if we can get that one last little element out of him, that dog. If we can get that dog element out of him, which I think dog is just something you got to have in you. You can't coach it. But I do think it can be developed. So maybe if we get that last little edge out of him, that might be you get JJ back, you probably get a couple more additional pieces at the guard position off the bench. This is, it's the effectiveness of the production. And right now, Onyeka Okongwu is more effective than Clint Capella.
Yeah, Jalen is on the mend. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I think the earliest he can come back is Tuesday, and it's a possibility. So if the Hawks can get some momentum coming into when Jalen was back, and remember this team was 8-5 when Jalen got hurt. So they weren't playing bad at all. So if they can play well and then get Jalen back, it could be a huge boost. And also, I want to point out Trae Young couldn't shoot the ball in the beginning of the season for the first 10 games. He couldn't really shoot the ball. He was playing really well. He just couldn't shoot. And now you got Trey playing the best basketball of his career. If you get Jalen back, that's going to help the defense a ton. This team can make a run. That's why I'm not ruling out this team can be a playoff team. I think easily they can get to be. I don't think it's going to be that hard. But I want to go to Brian's point real quick here about and Mike mentioned it too. Thoughts on the DeJounte trade rumors. I don't really believe Hoops Hype honestly that much, but they reported that the Knicks could look into acquiring DeJounte Murray. Now, in my opinion, I agree, Mike. I don't think the Hawks trading DeJounte to the Knicks helps the Knicks that much. I think it would help the Hawks more depending on what they get back, honestly. But I don't think that's a good move for the Knicks, Brian. If I'm GM there, what do you think?
Well, do they still have Bronson?
They would
after the DJ trade.
They're not trading Brunson for DJ. That would not happen. Brunson's a better player.
Okay,
way better player.
Because DJ's been because he's been so inconsistent with us, I think I tend to agree with you on that it doesn't really help the Knicks. But I do see a DeJounte Murray Bronson duo that could work if they put the right bigs around them. Like, you can't have, like, what they got coming off the bench for the Knicks is trash when it comes to the 4 and the 5. That's not going to work. But Bronson's not that big of a distributor, one guard.
Yeah.
DeJounte's more of a distributor, but Bronson is very efficient shooting. So I can see that 1-2 combo with them if DJ's your facilitator and your playmaker and Bronson is your shooter. It's unconventional, but
yeah. I think the Hawks have to explore trading DeJounte at this point. I just don't think the fit is there. But I don't think this is the right team. And Mike mentioned Onyeka Okongwu rebounding a concern. I don't think the Okongwu rebounding will be concerned if he gets 30 minutes a night. Now remember, like people will always compare Okongwu and Clint when they don't share the court, the rebounds. Clint Capella plays 30 minutes a night at center. If he does, that means that Okongwu most likely is playing like 24 minutes. Getting 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds a night in 21 minutes is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, like I think Okongwu will get those 10 boards if he gets 30 minutes a night. I know Capella's obviously a better rebounder. I think Clint Capella is a top 3 rebounder in the league, but I don't think while it is a concern, I think people overstate it just because they don't realize how many fewer minutes he's playing than Capella.
It's the offensive boards. Clint's better under the rim on offense, getting boards than O. You got to be able to get 10 or better. You got to average 10 or more a night if you're going to be a center, as far as effectiveness goes for your team. But O's definitely, I agree with you with those other 9 or 10 minutes a night. He's going to be a 10 rebound guy if given that opportunity. It's just on the offensive end, we know Clint's just an offensive, as Coach Unchained call him, a volleyball player.
He's a black hole.
Right.
But yeah, we'll get to this in a minute, Southside. I want to mention, since it's one of the topic of the centers, I want to talk about something that I saw in this game, because Capella early in this game was having trouble with Şengün, right? Şengün in the first half scored pretty well against him. Onyeka Okongwu completely limited him. And when we were talking on We Talk Hawks about the game, and I said, Okongwu completely limited Şengün. And the thing about Şengün is he's a very mobile center. He's good size, 6'10", 6'11", but he's mobile. He likes to do DHOs. He's going to handle the ball a lot. He's like a hub for their offense. Now, while Capella is still like the better rebounder and just the more active big, that matchup favors Okongwu. And even people who, but I got pushback on that because people who just hate Okongwu was like, oh, Capella, look at the box. He scored more than Okongwu, and like 9 rebounds. And I'm just like, people, that's you just box score watching. Like that's a lot of people. I feel like with our centers, box score watch instead of putting an impact on how they're doing defensively, night in and night out. To be honest.
Well, it's like you said, the matchup favors Onyeka with how you say his name, Shangu, or Shangu. It's about the matchup, and unfortunately for Clint in this league, bigs are more athletic now. And that's on the defensive end. That's kind of where Clint's kind of behind. He's kind of behind the 8 ball now. Centers are just very athletic, and when they're capable of putting the ball on the floor, like Shangu can do, they're capable of creating a shot for themselves under the basket. Clint struggles with centers that are capable of doing that. Not so much. It's part of the reason why. And I know he's not a center, but Giannis, it's a part of the reason why is successful against Giannis when he plays him. He can match he's not as athletic. Please, folks, don't start screaming to the top of your lungs. But I ain't saying he's as athletic as Giannis, but on the defensive end, he can match up with him better than most centers in the league because of his athleticism. So when they talk about the matchup, then you can't deny that athletically wise, is going to give you a better matchup against athletic centers than Clint will. He's just more stiff.
Yeah, and this game offensively, the Hawks shooting 26 threes in the first half, including 16 in the first quarter, is just huge.
One of our best 3-point shooting nights of the year.
They're finally they're getting it up. Sadiq is launching from 3. DeJounte's even shooting more threes, and I want to focus in. A bit more on DeJounte because biggest thing with DeJounte on offense is, he loves to settle, to snake the pick and roll, settle for that 15-foot mid-ranger. And when he can put pressure on the rim or shoot threes early, that can open up the mid-range for him when it gets to be crunch time in the fourth quarter. Hawks need a bucket. DeJounte's on the floor with the ball. 7 seconds left on the shot clock, 8 seconds left, call for a screen. That's when you pull up and go to the mid-range. You don't want to just settle and fall for that mid-range early because then defense key in on it, and then DeJounte doesn't have a counter for it. I think he needs to make a conscious effort to be aggressive, getting to the rim, the free throw line, and shooting threes, and then focus on that mid-range later in the game. And by the way, DeAndre Hunter was just ruled out tonight due to his knee. That is not a good sign.
No, that's not good. But what do you think Quinn Snyder can do to help DeJounte with that? Because clearly they're drawing up that offense for him to be able to get that shot. Well, so what is it something that they can do?
They're not. Quinn does not like mid rangers. Like I don't think they're definitely not drawing up the play for a mid range shot. DeJounte, it's a pick and roll. And on off another couple screens, and he'll have options. But the main thing that he goes to, and really the only thing he goes to in the pick and roll, is to look for that shot off the snake and get that mid-ranger up. The difference is Trey has so many counters to how the defenses play him in pick and roll. It's just night and day between them. He can get downhill. If they go under, he's popping the 3. He can snake the pick and roll too for a midi, but he'll have the floater. He'll get to the rim and get fouled. He also has the weak side. He throws lobs. DeJounte has trouble throwing lobs and consistently finding guys in the weak side corner. So it's just a difference between when Trey runs pick and roll versus DeJounte.
No, maybe that's part of maybe that's what's conflicting a bit, because DJ's game is the mid range. He's a better mid range player than he is a deep player.
Yeah, which is not the greatest as fit in terms of Snyder and what the game is trending to right now.
Right.
So that's the only reason why I think like DeJounte is a good player. Don't get me wrong, but I think the Hawks have to explore trading him because I just don't think it's fitting. If the Hawks had gotten the point of attack defense as advertised, this would be great. But DeJounte's not doing that. So it's
I'm gonna throw a name at you. I'm gonna throw a name at you, Mikey. A name that you probably ain't heard thrown at you before.
What
about LaMelo Ball?
What about him?
For DeJounte.
Oh, well, the Hornets wouldn't do that, but
why not?
Why not? Because you can't build a team around it. You know what DeJounte Murray is now. He's been in the league 7 years. LaMelo's a franchise player. I don't think the Hornets would never explore trading LaMelo.
Do it really look like they building around LaMelo though?
Yeah, he's just been hurt.
It looks like that to you? They putting a bunch of guards around him.
Guards? Wait, what guards? He is Terry Rozier is the shooting guard there, and then it's Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, and then Mark Williams.
Oh, yeah, Gordon Hayward not a guard.
Yeah, Gordon Hayward is. Yeah, he's still okay, but he's not the guy he once was. No way. So
yeah, too many. He's been hurt. He's been too many injuries.
Yeah, and this is and sounds like kind of I think gets what I'm saying here because look during that Heat series a couple years ago, Trey was completely blitzed, taken out of the game, and nobody else could do anything with the ball. I applaud the Hawks front office for going out and trying to get a guy who's secondary ball handler who's going to make those decisions. But Trey is still getting blitzed on the pick and roll in fourth quarters. That's a sign that, to me, defenses don't really respect DeJounte late in the game. They'll say, take that mid-range shot. Okay, it's fine. That's what they're doing. It looks like to me. And that's just not a good sign if you're the Hawks.
Could we go to because he's in Houston? Is it you think maybe Houston would part? What do you think about what's his name that's in Houston that came from Milwaukee?
That came from Milwaukee?
Yeah.
I don't know who.
I can't get his name out. Yeah, I know how I am with names. I'm terrible with names. But we had his brothers here.
Oh, you talking about Aaron Holiday?
Aaron Holiday.
I mean, we had him. The Hawks had him here last year.
How do you think he fits with Trey?
The Hawks had him here last year, and I like Aaron Holiday. He's like not.
No, not Aaron.
Justin Holiday.
No.
Drew Holiday. You're talking.
Drew Holiday.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. You're talking about Drew Holiday. Yeah, the Drew Holiday next to Trey would be great. That would be awesome. I mean, he's getting up there in age. That's the only thing. And the Celtics just got him, so I don't think they trade him. But yeah, Drew Holiday next to Trey, and like in theory.
Oh yeah, he's with the Celtics. I said Houston. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why I was confused. Yeah, but yeah, the Drew Holiday next to Trey would be awesome. But I want to speaking of defense and Drew Holiday. The Hawks in this game played a lot of drop coverage. That's why you saw Fred VanVleet have a great game. And I always say this to Hawks fans that say when Jalen is out, the Hawks should never go back to the defensive scheme before and should always play Okongwu and Capella together. That you can't do that if you want to win long term in the NBA in today's game because there's so many elite guards in this league. Fred VanVleet, really good player. He played 44 minutes. And like I said after the game, you can take the Fred out of the nurse, but you can't take the nurse out of the Fred from Toronto. Nick Nurse played those guys so much in Toronto, and Fred VanVleet's like, nah. Now I'm under Ime Udoka. I'm gonna play the same minutes. That is hilarious to me. But he had 32 points in 15, shot 10 of 20 from the field, and 3 of 7 from 3. Elite guards kill drop coverage. Why do you think Trey and DeJounte play so well against the Bucks?
Right.
Elite guards kill drop coverage, and you can't play the defensive scheme that Quinn Snyder likes to run with the big high on the screen if you have a Kangwoo and Capella at the same time, because it's just not enough athleticism, not enough speed at the perimeter. So that's why matchup based, yeah, the Hawks will go to some drop coverage here and there, but against the Cavs, for example, the Hawks fans were frustrated that Snyder didn't start a Kangwoo Capella with how it looked last game. Evan Mobley was out of that game, so there was no need to start a Kangwoo, and you couldn't go to drop coverage because they still had Donovan Mitchell. So you gotta. While yes, one lineup might work against one team, you got to look at how the opposition is raw. You got to look at the opposition's roster and how their team is structured, and base your defensive scheme off how you want to limit guys instead of just giving guards who in my opinion, are your engine of your team, getting easy looks.
But maybe that's still part of the issue though, Mikey. Trey's just not gonna be oh man. I know he's giving the effort, but you take a big drop from the offensive end to the defensive end when it comes to our one guard position with Trae Young.
And two.
And see that a guy like Drew Holiday would be perfect.
Yeah,
he would be perfect.
That's why
because he's going to give you efficient shooting, and he's going to give you good 1 and 2 guard play on the other end of the floor.
Yeah, elite defense at the point of attack. That's what I wanted to emphasize. At the point of attack, these guys. Without Jalen, the Hawks are so small. The Hawks are small with Jalen, but even without him, the Hawks are so small on the back line. And with the scheme they play, when they bring the big high on the screen to protect from turning the corner, that pass to the center, Jared Allen took advantage of this. Like in the Cavs game, I remember people were harping on Okongwu like, oh my gosh, he never steps up when he starts when Clint is out. I'm like, you guys gotta watch.
He wasn't.
But
he wasn't though, Mikey.
But I'm saying like Okongwu didn't play well in that game, right? He didn't at all. But everybody was like, man, Jared Allen dominated Okongwu. Like on the boards, yeah, he did. But almost every single point that Jared Allen scored, not on offensive rebounds, was scored because the back line of the Hawks is just simply too small. Because Okongwu's job in the pick and roll is to cut off the ball handler and not allow him to use that screen and get into the paint. Okongwu did a beautiful job of that. It's just the ball handler got the ball to Jared Allen in the middle, and the Hawks back line is just not strong enough, not tall enough, and just aren't good defenders. Like they're just not smart on rotations to intercept that pass. And it was just easy layups over wings and guards for Allen in the paint.
Yeah.
So
the size thing is going to continue to be an issue until we get to. I think you can make up for being a little undersized if you had at least one guy coming off the bench. Who's that in for? Is JaMychal Green signed anywhere yet? Or is he still at home twiddling his thumbs?
I don't think he's signed anywhere yet.
I mean, that's. Maybe we can mask some of the deficiencies at the 1 and 2 guard position on defense if we got a guy like JaMychal Green who gonna give you that gritty dog play at the forward spot. You can play him at the 5 if you need him to. If you want to, he can stretch the floor and he can give you efficient mid-range shooting and he can step back there and shoot you some threes. But on the defensive end, he's going to be there for the grit work. He's going to be able to get boards. He's going to be a high energy guy for when guards make it inside and try to slash inside, or when forwards try to slash inside and get past those guards up on the front, in the front court. In the back court. He's going to be an energy guy. Maybe you can mask some of the deficiencies with a guy like a JaMychal Green.
I mean, I don't think he'll move the needle too much, obviously, but I think it would help, especially playing him at the 4. He's now playing him at the 5 would just be small over again. But yeah, That would help. That would help off the bench at the 4 for sure. Last specific point I want to make about this Rockets game was, and really it's been not in the Rockets game, but it's been probably over the past like a week and a half. Trae Young's passing right now, like he's shooting the ball 38% from 3 for everybody that said he's an inefficient shot chucker. But anyway, look, Trae Young's passing is his best ability. No questions asked. Right now, he is carving defenses up, and they have no clue what's coming. The passes he is making, that Pistons game, I think that was Trae Young's best passing game of his career. Some of these dimes that he's getting are just, I like it. I'm speechless. It's ridiculous what he's doing right now.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's phenomenal, man. And sometimes I get on people for overusing words, and you're like phenomenal and you know genius. Like when people use these words, I'd be like, bro, you're overusing these words. But when it comes to Trae Young, bar none, one of the best playmakers in the history of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's, to me, I was saying outside of LeBron, he's the best playmaker of today's NBA. I'm right now, if he keeps up a similar performance to what he's been doing so far this year with his playmaking ability, he's a better playmaker than LeBron right now. He could be a better playmaker than LeBron was over the course of time, but right now, he's the best playmaker in basketball, man.
Mm-hmm.
At 6 foot on paper, we know it's sports, so he's probably really like 5'11". Fred VanVleet is like 5'10". He was clearly taller than Fred VanVleet, so he's probably right at 6 foot. But to be his stature, to be the size he is, and can make the passes that he can make around 6'10" and 6'8" and 9 and 11 guys, the ability to be able to do that at his size, you have to think that there's a spark of genius the way that he approaches the game, because just anatomy wise, like he shouldn't be able to do what he's doing, but he's doing it. So it has to be some kind of level of genius to the way he approaches, setting up plays and knowing what guys are at on the floor, making sure guys know where to be at on the floor. That's a big part of distributing. Your players knowing where to be when you have the ball in your hand and you're moving with the ball. So there has to be a spark of genius to the way he approaches being a playmaker and having his teammates know where to be on the floor.
Yeah. FR Farmer here says Hawks don't want to be tough and efficient. Like, yeah, they don't really play the physical brand of basketball that they need to on the defensive end. But on the offensive end, I don't agree. The Hawks offense, I think, is very efficient. The top 5 in the league in a lot of categories. I don't really agree with that one.
Scoring has never been a issue.
Yeah.
It's never been an issue, y'all. It's always been consistent defense. Scoring, even if we had bad shooting nights, they figure out how to get the ball in the basket, whether it's getting to the line or whether it's making sure you get inside and get tough shots inside. They figure out a way to get points. And that's what Mikey mean by it's an efficient offense, but because if one aspect doesn't work, they know how to figure out how to get it another way. That has never been the issue since Trae has been on this team. It's really just about consistent defense.
Yeah. And that defense that they thought they were getting that Murray trade, but unfortunately has not been the case. I don't think the Hawks make that trade knowing what they know now.
Right. Hindsight, yeah.
Yeah. Salman says, what do you think the main reason is for the Hawks' defensive weakness? Honestly, if you ask me, well, I've said it's the point of attack so many times, but if I dive even deeper into that, it's really DeJounte. Like, I think if he could step, could focus on keeping his man in front and not letting so many drives into the paint, I think the Hawks defense could be fine, especially with Jalen, with Okongwu, with Clint. That defense is fine with those guys, but it's just the amount the Hawks give up the most drives into the paint in the league. Now, when they get there, because of Okongwu and Capella, the opponents don't shoot at an efficient clip at the rim. But after so many attempts at the rim, the ball is going to go in the basket, and the centers are going to get foul trouble. So that's what happens.
We see it happen every damn game almost.
Yeah.
Teams get a second opportunity for a three or something, and it almost every time goes in. Almost every time.
Well, I'm talking about more of I'm talking about more of what to call it, just in the half court.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
When the Hawks are giving up the most drives in the league, like to drives into the paint.
Yeah, they do. They let a lot of people go by them a lot. It is almost, it doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, so
they let a lot of people go by them.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the number one thing that the Hawks need to address. But as far as center defense, there's not many better duos than Clint Capella and Onyeka Okongwu. There really isn't. Now fans can look at the box score and just say, "Oh, okay, points in the paint, centers, they've got to be better." But that's just not always the case. Just not always the case. But yeah, and as we got Tim joining us here, he said, yeah, DeAndre is out heading to the back-to-back. Yeah. I'm not too worried about it's never a good sign when DeAndre Hunter hurts his knee and he's out of a game because of it. But this is a back-to-back tomorrow against Memphis. Jimmy's out. So it makes sense to sit him down if anything is bothering him in the slightest. So that's a good segue into previewing the game tonight in Miami, South Beach. Blackberry, those Miami Heat, those pesky Heat players with Eric Spoelstra in there and their voodoo defense that the refs don't see. So what do you think is going to be the key to getting the win tonight in Miami?
I think you're gonna have to use a lot of off-ball action, man. You're gonna have to match their energy. And the only way to do that is to keep that ball moving and to keep players moving around on the floor. If we do too much standing still, y'all, they gonna do to us what they do to us quite often, and that's beat us up. And like Mikey said, the refs they let a lot of things go for Eric Spoelstra's defenses. So you're gonna have to be moving. You're gonna have to put them in situations on the defensive end where if they are fouling a lot and refs are letting it go, it'll be too clear as day for the refs to let it go. If you're doing a lot of standing around, they're going to get away with a lot of shit. So you're going to have to be using Saddiq Bey on actions around the baseline. Same.
You there? I think we might have lost Blackberry there.
My bad. Somebody was calling me, Mike.
Okay. Oh,
somebody was calling me, but it's the same thing. For Saddiq and Bogey and all these perimeter guys, you're gonna have to keep them moving. There can't be too much standing around. So I think that's the key to beating Miami on any given night is match their energy, keep your guys moving, keep the ball moving, not a whole lot of standing around, man.
Yeah, this is a huge, and Salman said it best here, a huge opportunity for Trey to shake off, the Heat voodoo magic or whatever. He has bad games against the Heat for some reason. But let's see, he's playing the best basketball of his career now, like we've noticed so many times. So let's see if he can continue and make it 6, 30, and 10 games in a row. As we talk Hawks TV in the building, Damon.
So with you, D?
What you probably got a watch along and a post game. So definitely be sure after this happens to go over and check check out the watch along. The game starts at 8, and then there'll be a post game show as well. So make sure to go over and check We Talk Hawks if you guys are able to. But for me, yeah, quick decision making, but playing off the catch more specifically. We cannot allow the defense for the Heat to get set in a half court. The amount of times that the Hawks can't score against the Heat half court, no matter if they're missing Jimmy, if they're missing Bam, if they're missing Caleb Moore, no matter who it is, the amount of times the Hawks offense has sputtered against this Miami Heat half court defense, I can't even begin to count how many times it has, even though it's elite. So, can the Hawks maintain a consistent offensive flow throughout the game and not, get into their head, and not allow the defense of Miami to get into their head? That's going to be huge. Obviously, the Heat, they're going to start Kyle Lowry. Jimmy Butler's out, but Lowry, Jaquez, Bam, who else over there? Those three guys in particular just play very, very physical, and especially Lowry. Lowry is I can't stand watching Kyle Lowry, guys. I'm gonna be honest. I can't stand watching him. It's it's so annoying playing against him. You'd probably love it if you're on your team, though. But yeah, Hero 2 with the plays physical defense. He's not a good defender, but he'll foul a lot of times on defense, and the refs won't call it. So let's see if the Hawks can make them pay, and let's see if the refs will call something on them. Yeah, Heroes playing as well. Yeah, so there's the Miami's been injured a lot, and credit to them. They had a rough start to the season, but they're picking it back up now. So let's see if we can make it 3 in a row and get some momentum heading in to this stretch where Jalen Johnson could be in on Tuesday. That's the biggest thing. Obviously, he's going to put a jolt into both ends of the floor. But can the Hawks create momentum as he's coming back? So the team is already playing well with him. You add a boost. So let's see if that happens. That's gonna be the main thing. And I don't know. This Miami Heat team's tough. Nefarious Kyle Lowry is one of the top 3 most unwatchable players in the NBA. Yeah, he's up there with Dylan Brooks. He's up there with Dylan Brooks for sure. Like the flopping that Lowry does is absurd. So hopefully the Hawks will not let that get into their head. But I wanted to discuss a little bit more before we end the show. The move today that the Hawks made. They signed Vit Krejci to a 2-way contract, and they put Miles Norris on waivers. Now, Miles Norris can still be on the Skyhawks if he clears waivers. But my thought on this move was, Vit is probably going to play at College Park most of the time. Let's see if we can get a true point guard there to develop Lundy, develop Mo Gay when he plays there. Guys like that. The guard play for the Skyhawks on the defensive end has been great. But the defense but the offense has not been good. So Lundy is their main scorer, and he's not really a scorer. He's more of a shooter. So can Seth Lundy develop more with a true point guard that Vit is? Yes. So I think that's more of a Skyhawks move than a Hawks move. He'll play some. I think he can take Wes Matthews minutes because he hasn't been giving the Hawks good minutes lately. But those are my thoughts on that move. I don't think it'll make too much of an impact, but more of the impact will be felt for the Skyhawks than the main team, I think, for sure. But with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Georgia Sports Nation. We'll be back next week. It could be Thursday of next week, so make sure to keep an eye out for that. But appreciate you guys coming in and listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.